We're talking TNT Season 1 of Claws, Fallout episode. Stay tuned.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AFTERBUZZ TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
What up, AfterBuzz? It's your boy DJ Jesse J here in studio for the Claws AfterBuzz TV after show. The music was so good this episode. We just had to come in on fire.
So good, so good. Love the disco. What's up, guys? This is Mariel Turner. You can find me on Twitter and Facebook at Mariel_Turner. Ew.
So you know it's a holiday weekend.
It is.
Me and Mariel were the only professional ones.
The only ones that can make it in. Happy 4th, guys.
Happy 4th. But shout out to Kelly and shout out to Jeff. We love you guys. We got it. We got this one. Right? You know what I'm saying?
We got it. We got it.
We came in with the choreography. They're going to be a little jealous.
I know. They missed out. They missed
but that's fine. And they missed out on a good episode, too. So we saw last week with Desna and Roller, and we were like, is Roller coming? Is this like a thing?
Yeah.
It was a nightmare, though.
Clearly a nightmare, and a reoccurring nightmare, it seems, from the episode.
And now it's got me kind of wondering, like this show really is playing with my emotions, because it's like, I want to, now I'm at the point Jeff has convinced me, like, Roller's alive.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. But
then it's like, are these previews that we've seen just Roller's haunting Desna?
Yeah, and I almost feel like they can't have Roller haunting and have him be alive. It's kind of, I don't know, I'm not sure how that would make that work. So,
or if one time we think it's haunting, but it really is going to be him.
That would be good. Hey, maybe.
But the tea came when we get to the shop. So we're at the shop and we see Polly. She's doing, I think her name was Cece's nails while Desna was waiting. She was waiting for Desna, but she started. And did you notice how she was doing her nails? Like, I don't know. I don't get mine done, but like obviously. But what's that? Do they put it on your actual finger like that?
Yeah, they do. They put the clear on, and then that's how you get it. Well,
on your finger or the? She was putting it on her.
She's
like,
putting her finger.
She's putting it like
it's
on
only
this part.
supposed to go on the nail.
Okay, that's what I thought, and I was just like,
I don't think Polly's that good at nails from what I've seen on the show. I'm like, I think Desna's just like, hey, girl.
She just fucks with her.
Yeah, you can come through.
So this woman walks in and she says, Heather.
Is that you?
And Polly's whole accent changed. Sally Bates. And I'm like,
I was like,
Do you watch The View at all?
I have before, yeah.
You know Sunny on The View? The Hispanic girl?
No.
I thought this was her for the longest time. Did any of you guys think that it was Sunny? At first, I was like, ooh, Sunny aged.
You mean the actress?
No, she's like a lawyer or something on the show. She sits right next to Whoopi on it now. But that's what I thought this was, and I was like, okay, that's a good role for. Go ahead, girl. But I don't think that's her.
Yeah, I don't think it's her.
But Polly creates this lie, and she said it was Otto died years ago, so I decided to write a book about nail salons, and this is research and development.
Yeah, and I'm like, really? You're going to believe that? But maybe, I don't know. Polly was pretty convincing, like, I think, with that story.
But now we're also starting to see, okay, I think she is a pathological liar.
Yeah, she clearly has an issue with telling the truth.
And is it to better herself? Like, so my thing is like, in the gay world, you live with a lot of, well, like a Joanne the scammer, right?
Right.
So is that what Polly is? Like, that's my question. Like, so is her motive for lying and stealing, like, is she bouncing from these situations to to stay at a certain lifestyle? Like, that's where I'm intrigued with it.
I think, from what I gathered from this episode, she's trying to live this life of, you know, better than what she had. So trying to be, I think she said she wanted to live a bougie life.
Which is funny, when Desna said it to her, she was like,
Yeah.
But then that's the first thing you use to this woman, like, you bougie bitch.
I know, I love that. I was like, yes, Carrie Preston. But I do think she has this deep need to be something other than herself. And that's why she keeps lying and making all this stuff up and trying to, you know, be a real housewife without actually
being.
Yeah.
Uncle Daddy says to Desna that he wants $500. He thinks he's helping her out. He's like, I want $500 every week from each one of you. And she's like, that's going to take us a whole year. And I'm like, well, you can pay him more than $500 if you wanted to, but he's clearly doing it because he's trying to keep Bryce as long as possible working for him. What did you take from Dean this episode? I felt like he was in it a lot, and I was confused as to his purpose in this episode, because like I didn't understand the him and Virginia thing. I didn't. Oh, actually, you know what's so funny? I didn't understand it until right in this moment an idea just came. Because you know how they keep kind of trying to sexualize the Virginia and Dean situation? I actually wonder if they like each other on a child-like
basis.
You know what I'm saying? Because we see that she has this kind of play-like mentality, kid-like. That can relate, almost like how people, I don't know, but how people were kind of saying like Michael Jackson, like being around kids because he thought he was one, you know what I'm saying? I wonder if it was that kind. That just hit me right now.
I think it could be that. It's really hard to tell because they do keep sexualizing it, and I think they said at some point like make sure she doesn't fall on his dick or something like that, some variation of that. And I was like, did something happen that we missed or something? Yeah, but I do think Dean this episode was I don't know.
I wonder if they're showing it to build up the fact of how protective he is.
Yeah, maybe so.
And because now all these predictions are coming. They weren't before, but now all these predictions, like, what if he takes the blame for Roller? Ooh. The Roller situation.
I don't think Desna will let him do that.
I don't think she would too, but I think I could totally see Dean killing somebody.
Yeah.
Out of like a fit and anger.
Yeah. And I also think they kind of used him in this episode to give a little bit of background on Desna, with the foster parents and kind of opening up the door a little bit. So maybe that was kind of his purpose. But I do agree that he was, I don't know, I was kind of confused.
It just felt, it felt like overly placed. I thought it was interesting though that we did find out like the foster family thing, and then I'm also wondering like how old are they supposed to be right now, you know? And then that they ate out of dog bowl, were fed out of dog bowls, like all right. So we see Desna been through it. Uncle Daddy shows up. And he thinks he found Titus, or whatever the situation is.
Titus.
And this poor man who just had a job and asked Roller about an invoice a few years ago got dragged into this, and Uncle Daddy didn't even care. Shot him.
I mean, that at first shocked me a little. Like, wow, he just killed him. And Virginia said that it wasn't the guy, but then I also remember Uncle Daddy is literally insane. So I don't know. I shouldn't be surprised by random murder coming from him.
And it's almost like you should have just lied and said he did it. Yeah. And then he would have killed him and it would have been done.
I think if they had really thought about this man's crazy and he's probably going to kill him regardless, then he kind of just could have taken the fall and then that would wrap it all up in a pretty bow. But then, you know, what would they talk about next episode?
So Polly is excited because she wants to go to the country club with Sally. She goes to it. I thought it was hilarious, the Kegel ball falling out.
Oh my God, I know. And she's like, this isn't for my husband. This is for my little plaything.
Which at first I thought the plaything was Toby.
Yeah, me too. I was like, oh, Toby's got a little roster going.
And Sally, I gotta say, you was working that wine.
She was. I was like, uh-oh.
Throwing that back, honey. She has a secret fuck buddy Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And then invited Heather, Polly, to live in her guest house because even though, which is funny that Polly's like, oh, I inherited $20 million and you're gonna stay in someone's guest house.
Yeah.
And if you inherited $20 million, you're staying at a nice hotel,
right?
Or
that
someplace.
Story, I think that should have been the first like red flag for her. Like, wait, this is not adding up. You inherited $20 million, but you need to stay in my guest house. Like, you could stay in another mansion somewhere, rent it out, Airbnb it up or something.
Not mine, honey. So they take the Titus guy that they killed, Bryce and Uncle Daddy and Chip, and they're cutting him up, and Bryce kind of freaks out.
Yeah, rightfully so. It's pretty disgusting.
And at this point, you know, I love seeing Jen stand up for her man, and it's just so cute. Their relationship's so cute. Her going to Uncle Daddy at the end, and you know, trying to get it through his head, even though she knows that it's not.
Yeah, and I'm really worried about that because I have a feeling Bryce working for Uncle Daddy is really going to negatively affect his relationship with Jen. I mean, I hope it doesn't, but I could see that becoming a wedge, like with his desire to really prove himself to Uncle Daddy, and Jen being like, you know, you can't let this man turn you into like a crazy man killer.
Because he's crazy.
Yeah.
Because he literally was sitting outside with Toby and company.
Yes,
synchronized swimming.
I loved this scene. I thought it was just so hilarious. And I just love Uncle Daddy like chilling out in the cabana, and he has like his little plaything doing synchronized swimming in the bright blue.
But I love that he doesn't even interact with him. Like, it's like, you're my plaything, but like you're over there with the girls and I'm over here and I just want to stare at you from a distance.
It was very creepy, but I also thought it was kind of hilarious.
Yeah, it was. And now it's funny because we had Toby in last week, and he said his favorite thing he filmed, he couldn't tell us. I'm assuming this was clearly it.
Then he said it was a physical act.
And he did very well.
Yeah, I was like, man.
He was bending his leg in there.
That's synchronized swimming. Woo. And then I think, didn't Uncle Daddy say he's buying him some new boobs or something?
Yep, he said he's getting new tits. So I'm like, okay, what is that? Are we trans? Are we shifting?
Transitioning? It's interesting.
So that'll be an interesting. I love the way they just drop little jewels.
Yeah.
Like, it's just the little things that they keep giving us. So they're trying to figure out, Desna and the girls are trying to figure out how they can get clients back to their clinic.
Right.
So they have this idea. They dress up in Vanity 6 outfits.
Love that.
Which I love them having to explain to Virginia who Vanity 6
right.
was.
She's like, who? What? And I'm like, look, even I was born in 1990 and I know who Vanity 6 is. There is no excuse. Sorry.
So they do this whole car washing thing. Then they're like, all right, this ain't going to work. So what are we going to do? So they decide, well, first of all, we see Desna takes... How much money was that? Was it 20?
I think it was 20.
Yeah.
20K.
Grand. And then basically puts that into buy pills so that they can sell and make more money. So then they decide that what they were trying to stay away from was stealing from this Peter Payne person. That is their competition. And they've mentioned this like 3 times in the past couple episodes. So I'm assuming that we're going to meet whoever Peter Payne is and is going to lay some law down.
Yeah.
Because they were out here giving all the discounts, the coupons, the Groupons outside, like, shit, you buy one, we're going to give you 700.
Right.
Like,
and then I wonder if the Peter Pan or Peter Pan guy is related to the Russians at all, or maybe that's their guy and that's where the Russians finally come in.
Which is interesting too, because that woman that comes into the nail salon with the tattoos on her thing, with a Russian accent.
I was like, oh, she's trouble. Like,
asking about roller.
And she's like, in my country, we will kill for that or something.
In my country, we will hunt you down with a bat and then feed you to something so you can think about what you...
Yeah, I'm like, ooh, this woman is trouble.
Well, honey, welcome to America. Dr. Ken. I don't like this man at all. I want to. Like, there's something about him that I'm like, okay. I feel like he's gonna do something to help at one point. I feel like he's going to be a moving forward within the plot.
Really?
I'm trying to figure it out. Yeah, because I'm like, his character is so aggravating that it almost makes no sense to me at all.
So annoying. And I'm just like, okay, this stalker ex-husband thing, you're just going to show up at her engagement party and he's a mess.
And then be screaming, that Ken doll's never going to make you squirt.
Yeah, I was like, oh.
We're freaks.
I would be mortified. I mean, like, this is where you call the police. Like, I need a restraining order ASAP. Because this guy...
And then how psycho for Bryce to just assume that Dr. Ken is even capable of this because he sees a gun and he knew that Roller used the same code.
And it's like,
Roller, they share the safe.
Right. I mean, of course he knows that. And I think that is like a testament to what Bryce did earlier in the episode, cutting up that guy. Like, I think it's just made him a little bit crazy or a little paranoid. And he's like, oh, this must be him.
And it's so funny that he's going through all this as he's supposed to be like this motivational speaker.
Yeah, and like, you know.
You're supposed to represent this thing, and you're totally going back on, which people go through that. I mean, I have moments of that where, you know what I mean? It's like, you know what the Bible represents. You know, you go to church and you try to live up to these certain morals, but I mean, it's life, you know?
Yeah.
And you go out, you may have a drink a little more than you're supposed to. And Bryce's hands, he's murdering people, you know? It's hey. Okay, so then Polly goes to meet up with Sally at her house, and
so awkward
with the husband,
who is clearly on his last leg. Like, I mean, and I think it was so interesting after she got exposed and she said, we're the same person, we're both conning, you're just doing it with like this old decrepit husband and I'm doing it with my lies, but it's kind of the same thing. And I was like, you know, that's a really good point. You know, Sally's not exactly completely innocent, clearly.
No, because my thing is with anyone like this, it's like, you clearly know why you're in it.
Right.
And then to think that you're in it for this reason, but then you're still cheating, and then keeping it, like, what makes you a better person?
Yeah, or that you can look down on her because she grew up poor. Now, her blatantly lying about everything.
Especially with and what would make me nervous is like, all right, girl, like, if you had told me at the country club this situation, but now you're in my house, you got that on you, is this really why you were here? Did you kill somebody? Like,
yeah. I think those are all reasons to be concerned. But her focus on, like, whoa, you're poor, I think that's not the upsetting part of this whole scenario to me.
So I thought it was funny when Sally so her ankle bracelet starts going off. Time to get home, honey. And Polly goes into this whole, I'm from Saluda, North Carolina. My dad worked in a factory on car interiors. My mom taught disabled kids. That was interesting.
It was.
And to see her almost like go into this childlike state of like, I'm ashamed, but here's who I really am. And then the anger that came right after it. Like, we're both you're a liar too. Don't say I'm a liar. That little snippiness, it was interesting.
I think she was kind of putting herself out there to be accepted. Almost kind of like the unpopular girl, and here's the cool, popular, rich girl. I'm like, this is really me. Will you accept me? And then she gets that rejection.
And it's like, bitch, you ain't shit.
Right. And then she's like, oh, hell no. Let me tell you about yourself. So I think that's kind of what that was.
Polly goes back to Desna, and one of I almost tweeted it out. She's crying and she says, no, my life sucks. Like, my only sexual partner involves batteries, and they ran out last night, so I used my smoke detector to pop one off.
I was like, oh, poor Polly, man. It's
just like one of those moments where you're low, and you're like, oh, I can't believe I did that.
Right. Like,
damn.
I've really reached rock bottom here. And I also thought it's interesting how everybody goes to Desna, you know, like, in their times of need, if they need reassurance, and she is kind of this mother figure. But then I also question who's there for her, you know?
To me, it seems like it's only Jen. I feel like they're all there for her, but it's only when they see something in the moment, because it's like, I go through this with my friends a lot. A lot of my friends don't, because I'm helping my friends all the time, they never think like
that you would need
help.
They're
like, oh, he's good. He helps us all the time. Like, what could Jesse need? You know what I mean? So seeing her in that moment, then we get these scenes of her and Dean. I think that's where they're really trying to build her character up to, and then there's going to be this whole kind of breakdown, and then who's really going to be there for her.
I think so too, and showing, you know, she is such a strong character, but strong people still need that support. And I do think there's going to be a moment where she has a breakdown, and she's going to need somebody kind of the way she's been there for others on the show. Speaking
of popping one off, y'all, if you want to be like Toby and look real cute, we got this whole situation for you guys. It's our new sponsor called MeUndies. It is the softest underwear you'll ever wear. They're one of those products that you just kind of have to experience yourself. I could tell you about them all day long, but I'm just going to tell you this. They're super comfortable, you guys. I mean, not only that, if you're used to buying boring underwear, these have like all the patterns, all the colors that
animal
you want.
Print.
And because MeUndies comes in all kinds of colors and patterns, and they release new limited edition patterns each month, they always sell out. So this month's patterns were designed by the legendary 80s clothing brand Cross Colors, Love this. With names that live up to their bold design and bright colors. Increase, D-Piece, Ya Dig, and the OG. And you guys got to see them for yourself. And right now, you guys are going to save 20% off your first pair plus free shipping at meundies.com/buzz. meundies.com/buzz. You guys are going to get 20% off your first pair plus free shipping. meundies.com/buzz.
Check it out, guys.
Okay. Be right on running around my little undies. We see Polly, she's doing she blackmails Sally for $15,000.
Yes.
Loved it. Go ahead.
Right. I was like, she had kind of had that coming, the way she treated her at the end. So, hey, get that money, girl.
Within this happening, this is when Bryce calls and thinks that Dr. Ken is the one who murdered Roller. And so now, as Dr. Ken's freaking out at this engagement party, Bryce knocks him over the head, throws him in the trunk, in that tight little trunk too.
I know. Whew. I don't know. I'm curious to see where that goes. If it goes like Uncle Daddy is crazy and I'm just going to take him out. And if he does, who would help run the clinic? You know, it's leaving so many holes. Or is it, you know, Desmond's going to come through and...
Well, on that note, let's head into predictions.
And now, your AFTERBUZZ TV predictions.
Okay, so do we think Dr. Ken is going to get shot next week?
Oh, man. I never know with Uncle Daddy. Like, I just never know. And I don't think he even knows until, like, the last second, you know?
I want to believe no.
Yeah, only because they've been building this character up.
Yeah, that's the only reason I can't. Like, it's like I didn't care about the engagement or like him on Facebook and like, unless you're gonna make me care.
Yeah, and I mean I think it's just going to be another example of like, okay, maybe we thought this was him and then they tell him no. And it somehow just leads back like closer and closer to them actually being Desna and Virginia being the ones who are exposed.
Well, and that looks like it might happen next week because Paulie seems to think that Virginia's hiding something and putting the blame on Desna. And here's where I think we're going to start seeing the girls getting protective.
Yeah.
Do we think that that might just be a cut for the preview, or do we think that that's fully going to get exposed last night? Because even Desna was in front of Dr. Ken, it looked like, saying, "We're not murderers."
I think it's still too soon for them to be exposed, but I think this is the build-up, right? So I think next episode might be the episode right before they get exposed, but or if they do get exposed, it'll be like in that last,
the very end.
Yeah, because I've noticed on the show the endings are always like cutting off at a part where you're like, wait, what's next?
Yep.
Or where's happening? Or is this real? Is this, you know, is this
and
fake?
Then they always pick it right on up.
And they pick it up right at that moment. So I do think maybe when she said we're not murderers, that might be the scene where it's like, oh my God, this is coming out. And then it'll be like, check next episode to see.
Too much tea.
Yes.
And then where do we think Toby's storyline's going with the new tits?
I don't know. I mean, it's so hard to tell. Like, he might be wanting to transition, or maybe he just decided, hey,
I just want to walk around with some tits.
Yeah, I just want to do tits. And
And then do we see Bryce and Jen making it the whole season?
I think there's going to be a breakup there. I think, you know, they're starting out so strong, and then Uncle Daddy comes in, and it's getting messier and messier, and I do think there's going to be a break. They'll probably get back together, but I think it's going to be a break. I mean, I just see that happening.
I totally now am starting to get this prediction where Jen and Desna are going to fully, like, Desna's going to explain everything to the girls, and they're going to become a team, and then the whole thing is going to be about, we need to kill Uncle Daddy.
I could definitely see that happening. And Jen would probably love that because she hates Uncle Daddy. She hates what he's doing to Bryce.
And now Desna knows how to order pills. She knows how to, you know what I mean? And because I don't think they're thinking like, oh, I'm trying to have a clinic here. It's like, look, I know how to run this one little cute little clinic. Let's run this and whatever. Because I thought that was a really boss move of her today to take that money out. And then when Bryce double checked with her, like, where'd you get that money from? I thought that was something's gonna get like spilled, and I feel like it's gonna have to do with that specific money. Uncle Daddy's not gonna be happy that he's getting paid so quickly.
And I wonder, because when it was happening so fast, I was like, how are they going to make this money look clean? You know, because they have to, it's dirty money. And I think they mentioned something in the first or second episode where, you know, it has to look like this is a legit clinic with people who are sick. So if you have all of these patients, how are you going to kind of pass that off as a legal operation? I definitely was wondering that at the time. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see where that goes.
They are filling us up with all these storylines, y'all, and I am excited. Do we think Sally will ever come back around? Do we think we'll see that, some more of that? Or that was just kind of, we got the 15,000, that's done? I
think it's a one and done thing.
Okay, I could see that being done.
Yeah.
We got enough. It gave us a little more Polly. Bye.
Yeah, I don't think she's gonna, you know, if she's gonna call the police or do something, I think she would have done it. And instead she gave the money. So I think that's kind of just like a one episode thing, giving us that background on Polly and learning more who she actually is and not the story she's telling every episode. So yeah, one and done.
Well, we want to know what you guys think, so leave your comments down below. Let us know what plots and twists you guys think are happening for next week. We're going to get some more people in studio for you guys this season because we need the answers. Okay? So thank you guys again for tuning in. Make sure you guys follow us at AfterBuzz TV on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Subscribe to us on iTunes. Rate us 5 stars if you love us, 4 if you don't, because the rest are broken. You guys can hit me up at DJ Jesse J.
What's up, guys? This is Mariel. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Mariel_Turner.
Boom. Next week, same time, same place. Peace.
See ya.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
See you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.